The story begins with Ben and his cousin Ali, who are on their way to deliver diamonds to a jewelry store. Ali is new to the job and clearly looks nervous. Ben notices this and asks, "You brought your gun, right? Keep it loaded." At the same time, we see a man named Davis waking up. Davis is a smart and experienced thief who's pulled off countless robberies over the years without leaving behind even a small clue. Today, he starts following a man named Masood as part of a plan he had already set up earlier by tampering with the brakes on Masood's car. Davis casually drives past Masood and pulls onto a narrow road, stopping his car right in the middle before opening the trunk. As soon as Masood steps out and tells him to move the car, Davis suddenly points a gun at him and asks if he has any weapons. Masood says there's one inside his car. Davis asks for his phone passcode and then locks him inside the trunk, saying there's water in there. After that, he quickly grabs Masood's phone and drives away. Meanwhile, at the jewelry store, Sammy asks the bank about the new guy. Then he hands Ben a briefcase filled with fake diamonds. After that, Sammy reveals the real plan. They're actually transporting 2 sets of diamonds worth around $3 million. The real diamonds are hidden inside Ben's socks. He warns Ben not to tell Ali anything since he's still new. Outside, Sammy asks Ali to show him his gun. After looking at it, he says, "Where did you even get this old thing? It might blow up in your hand." Then he gives Ali a better gun and tells him to return it after the job is done. He also points toward a car outside and explains that it will follow them for protection. The moment Ben and Ali leave, Davis parks near the store and quietly starts following them. After they arrive at a quiet delivery spot, Davis, wearing a mask, slams his car into theirs and immediately points a gun at them both. Poor Ali froze on the spot. Then Davis shows Ben a video on his phone of Ben's house and even mentions his wife's name. He says, "My guy is standing outside your home right now." Then he tells both of them to toss their phones into his car. Ali quickly does exactly that. Davis demands the real diamonds along with the certificate showing their value. He makes it clear that he has no interest in the briefcase. At first, Ben acts confused and says, "I only got the briefcase." But Davis immediately cuts him off and says, "These diamonds are insured. Your boss will get paid by the insurance company anyway. Why risk your life over this?" Davis knew way too much, so Ben finally admitted that the real diamonds were hidden inside his left sock. Slowly, he pulled them out and showed them. Davis took the diamonds and quickly let Masood out of the trunk of his car. But during all this, Ali had secretly kept his old gun with him. Just as Davis was about to leave, Ali suddenly fired at Davis. But the old gun misfired, and somehow Davis survived even at point-blank range. Reacting instantly, Davis threw the car into reverse and sped away from the scene. He raced through city streets and finally entered a parking garage, but it was obvious he was shaken because he had just come very close to dying. Inside the garage, he removed his contact lenses, cleaned himself up, pushed away the car, switched to another vehicle, and disappeared. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Detective Lou and his partner, who are investigating the diamond robbery case. They question Ben and immediately find the situation suspicious. They point out that on the exact day he was transporting $3 million worth of diamonds, he somehow got robbed. On top of that, they want to know how the thief knew his wife's name, but Ben responds directly and says he never leaked any information. Then, Ali admits that he did fire a shot before they left, but he missed. The detective also asks something else. If the robber had the chance, why didn't he shoot back? Lou believes this was done by someone who had been tracking him for a long time. He also feels the criminal avoids violence whenever possible and has a pattern of pulling off crimes around that same highway area before disappearing immediately. At the same time, Davis returns to his apartment and drops the diamonds into a cup. But when he looks at the mask he wore earlier, he notices bloodstains on it. Suddenly, it hits him that there may also be blood left inside the car he abandoned in the parking garage. Later, that same evening, Davis meets a partner of his named Mr. Money, a guy who helps sell stolen goods. The man asks how things went. Davis tells him the robbery almost went wrong and says he barely made it out alive. He explains that a bullet passed dangerously close to him. He also admits that the next job they had planned suddenly feels too risky and he's not sure he wants to do it anymore. Mr. Money asks him straight up, "So, do you have a better plan?" Davis replies, "I'm working on something." That same night, Davis starts digging into information on Sharon, a woman who works for an insurance company. At that moment, Sharon is busy trying to sell an insurance policy to a wealthy man named Monroe. She compliments his huge house and tells him that companies exist to protect people like him because, according to her, rich people have a lot more to lose. She keeps praising the older millionaire, and it almost looks like Monroe is ready to sign the deal. But then, Sharon accidentally mistakes Monroe's much younger fiancée for his daughter, and suddenly the chances of closing the deal drop. Later, when her coworkers ask if she made the sale, she simply says he's still thinking about it. After that, Sharon asks her boss Phil about getting a promotion, but he quickly changes the subject. As it turns out, Sharon's company is also the one insuring the $3 million worth of stolen diamonds. Phil tells Sharon that since she has contacts in the police department, she should handle this case. He explains that if the thieves get caught quickly, the company won't have to pay out the insurance money. But Sharon doesn't want to step away from the Monroe deal. Sensing an opportunity, a woman named Mylan quickly jumps in and says she can handle the Monroe account instead. Later that same evening, Sharon reluctantly agrees. At the same time, Sammy, the jewelry store owner, is also being questioned about the robbery. The detectives even suspect he may have arranged the theft himself, just to collect the insurance payout, but Sammy immediately defends himself. He says he's been running his store for 27 years and has even opened 2 more locations. He asks why he would risk his entire reputation now. Sammy strongly insists that he never called anyone about the delivery and only sent out an email. The second Lou hears that, something clicks. He realizes that if the thief hacked the email, he could have gained access to every detail about the shipment. Meanwhile, Davis is paying his hacker so he can get a closer look at Sharon's social media activity. He wants to know who she talks to and what kind of information she has access to. Now it becomes clear that Davis didn't just plan robberies, he also kept tabs on insurance companies to figure out who owned expensive items and what valuables were being insured. Later, while Davis is stopped at a red light, a woman named Maya suddenly crashes into his car. Maya immediately got upset and asked, "Why did you suddenly stop the car?" Davis calmly pointed toward the red light and asked if she was okay. Still shaken, Maya said she was running late and wasn't really used to driving that car. After the crash, Maya asked Davis to show his insurance details so she could report everything properly. Even though the accident was clearly Maya's fault, Davis wanted nothing to do with police trouble. He pulled out a stack of cash from his car and said, "I can just pay for the damage right now." Maya looked at him carefully and asked, "Do you always carry this much cash with you?" Trying to avoid the question, Davis quickly changed the topic and said, "I don't have a lot of time, just tell me how much you need." But Maya refused. She explained that it was a company car and she had to report things the proper way or she could lose her job. So Davis had no choice but to show her his insurance information. Later on, Sharon met Detective Lou at a cafe to discuss the diamond robbery case. She suggested giving both the jeweler and the courier a lie detector test. The moment she said that, Lou immediately understood the insurance company was trying to avoid paying money. During their conversation, Lou showed her some data that made it seem like someone from inside the insurance company could be involved in the crimes. He casually pointed out, "A lot of people who get insurance through your company somehow end up getting robbed." Then he added, "It almost feels like somebody on the inside is helping these thieves." Later at the station, Lou kept digging deeper into that theory. He pulled up old robbery cases and started sorting through them. He removed small-time thefts first. Since the thief seemed to avoid violence, he also ruled out cases involving heavy force. Once he narrowed things down, he noticed a pattern. All of these robberies happened near Highway 101. In every case, there was almost no unnecessary violence, and the robber always escaped without leaving much behind. Now Lou felt sure that one person was behind all of it. But his boss hated the idea. Reopening all these old cases wouldn't make the department look good. It would only create problems and attract media attention. His boss directly told him, "Don't dig up old cases. Our job is to increase solved case numbers." Disappointed, Lou walked away. Deep down, he strongly believed the wrong people had been arrested in many of those cases. Meanwhile, Mr. Money met with a man named Armin. He wanted Armin to handle the next job because Davis had already backed out, saying the mission was too risky and someone could get hurt. But Armin didn't care at all. Whether someone got injured or even died meant nothing to him, so he agreed right away. The next day, the plan went into action. A delivery worker walked in carrying a briefcase full of diamonds, handcuffed to his wrist. Suddenly, Armin attacked from behind. He pulled out a gun and terrified everyone around him. Unlike Davis, Armin had no mercy at all. He beat up the courier badly and forced him to give up the key. Then he grabbed a woman and made her stuff jewelry into a bag. Before leaving, he even fired shots just to scare everyone. Around the same time, Davis sent Maya a message under the name Mike and asked her out for dinner. Maya agreed, although she arrived a little late that night. The place Davis picked felt too fancy for her, and she admitted she'd rather go somewhere simple. So the two left and ended up at a street food spot instead. In Davis's dangerous and colorless life, Maya felt like someone who finally brought a little warmth into it. The date actually went really well. After Maya left, Davis looked over at a nearby television. A breaking news report was playing. It showed footage of a robbery at a jewelry store that happened earlier that morning, around 10 a.m. The robber had kept a motorcycle helmet on the entire time, so nobody ever got a look at his face. The reporter connected this robbery to a string of major thefts that had been happening for quite a while. Police were trying to gather clues through witness statements, but unfortunately, nobody had any real evidence against the thief. Later, Lou watched the footage carefully. Something about it didn't sit right with him. The location, timing, and overall setup looked similar to the earlier pattern, but the robber's behavior felt different. The previous thief always tried to stay away from fights and unnecessary violence, but this person seemed angry and aggressive. He was attacking people and acting without hesitation. That made everyone start wondering if the original robber had changed or if someone entirely new was behind this one. Meanwhile, Davis angrily went to meet Mr. Money. He immediately said, "That was my plan. How could you hand it over to someone else?" But Money fired back, "You didn't even do it. You were already getting nervous about the job." Davis insisted it wasn't about money. For him, it was about trust. Then Money replied, "If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be where you are today." The argument kept getting more heated between them. Later, Money met with Armand and came up with another plan. Instead of robbing the courier themselves, they decided to let Davis do the work and then rob him afterward. That way, Davis would take all the risk, while they would simply walk away with everything. After that, Money gave Armand the name of the hacker Davis usually worked with. He knew Davis would eventually go there. Soon after, Davis got some fresh information through his contacts, but while he wasn't paying attention, Armand secretly attached a tracker to his car. Back at his apartment, Davis carefully started researching Sharon's schedule and personal details. The next day, he casually ran into her outside. He complimented her car, and Sharon joked, "Life's too short to drive boring cars." Then she asked him what kind of car he owned. With complete confidence, Davis replied, "Depends on the day. Today, I've got a special one." Sharon laughed and said, "If changing cars is that easy for you, maybe I should join your line of work." Davis smiled and said, "All right, take a guess. Tell me what car it is. If you guess right, I'll hand over the keys." Sharon thought for a moment and guessed both the model and the color. She got the color exactly right, but sadly missed the model. That little game quickly turned into an easy conversation between them. Davis also introduced himself using the name Malik. Meanwhile, back at the station, the police team was reviewing the last camera image from the robbery. Lou asked again, "Has this guy ever been spotted near Highway 101? The answer was no. He had never appeared on the highway. That's when Lou said, "This was the last camera that caught him. There aren't many places between here and the highway." Then he added, he switched vehicles somewhere in this area. Later, Maya visited Davis's apartment. Looking around, she noticed how empty it felt. She pointed out, "You don't even have photos or anything personal here." Davis simply replied that he wasn't into things like that. Then, Maya turned on some music and pulled Davis in for a dance. Joking around, she laughed and said, "Somebody really needs to teach you how to be human." Slowly, Davis began letting his guard down, and the two started growing closer. But the next morning, Davis suddenly felt like someone was following him. He checked his car and quickly found a tracker hidden on it. Without wasting time, he immediately moved into a new apartment and changed locations. At the exact same time, Lou discovered the abandoned car the thief had left behind in the parking garage, and along with it, the forensic team found a single drop of blood inside. Lou sent the sample for a DNA test, hoping it would give him some answers. Meanwhile, Davis met Sharon later in the city at an art museum. During dinner, Sharon explained her job. She insures expensive items for rich clients. Then Davis told her the truth. Their meeting wasn't random. He already knew about her and wanted to offer her a deal. But Sharon quickly figured out he was a thief. She refused right away and said she had spent her whole life working honestly. Davis replied that maybe she did, but the rich people she works for probably didn't. Sharon got up and left. Outside, Davis noticed the rider who had been following him. He immediately got in his car and started chasing him. It turned into a cat-and-mouse chase through the streets. After running for a while, the rider crashed into another vehicle and fell. He limped into a nearby building. Davis followed him inside and pointed a gun, warning him to stay away from him. At the same time, Sharon met Lou at a yoga class. Just then, Lou received a call about a suspicious man near Highway 101. Around the same area, another thief was caught stealing. When police opened fire, they realized it was just a kid. Lou believed the boy wasn't even armed, but other officers still shot him. After that, his boss closed all the pending cases, claiming this same boy was responsible for everything. Back at the insurance office, Malin was being praised. The insurance deal with Monroe had finally been completed, and Sharon had done most of the key work. Malin came in and officially signed the deal. Later, Sharon quietly asked Mark about her promotion, but he avoided the topic again. When she threatened to take all her clients to another company, her boss Phil insulted her, saying no one would hire a 53-year-old woman anyway. Meanwhile, Lou received the DNA report. He studied it carefully, still hoping it might reveal the truth. At the same time, Sharon made a major decision. She contacted David and said she was ready to talk about his plan. She told him about an upcoming courier carrying $5.5 million worth of watches and diamonds for Monroe's wedding. There would be heavy security, but there were loopholes in the system. The payment was being made in cash to avoid taxes, which meant nearly $1 million in cash would also be present. Davis immediately started thinking about the robbery. He asked about cash security, but Sharon wasn't fully sure. Insurance only covered the jewelry, not the cash, so details were limited. Davis hesitated because it felt risky, but Sharon reminded the total value was around $11 million, enough to disappear forever. Davis said, "Money only matters if you survive to spend it." The DNA report now included Davis's name. Lou went to an address listed under Russia. A woman opened the door, and Lou lied, saying he was Detective Lovesnick and asked if she knew Davis. Her reaction told him everything. She did know him. Meanwhile, Davis listened to a voicemail from the same woman asking him to call back. When he did, he learned the police had already been asking questions about him. The story keeps moving as Davis realizes the investigation is slowly getting closer to him. Soon after, he met Sharon again to confirm the courier details. Sharon estimated that the delivery would happen either Friday or Saturday. Since the wedding was on Sunday, it had to arrive before then. Davis then handed her a disposable phone and told her, after every call, destroy the SIM card. Sharon laughed and said, "Don't you think this is getting a little too much? Sounds like a movie." But Davis calmly replied, "This is how it works. Nothing dramatic. You don't leave evidence behind. Everything has to stay clean." A few days later, Sharon finally figured out the complete plan and shared every detail with Davis. But suddenly, Armand showed up and attacked them. Scared and panicking, Sharon ended up giving him all the information too, including details about the cash and diamonds. Now Sharon was completely confused and had no idea what was happening anymore, so she went straight to Lou. Fearing for her life, she confessed everything about the robbery plan, including the money and every detail involved. People immediately started warning her. They told her that planning a robbery like this also made her part of the crime. If it officially came out, she wouldn't just lose her job, she could end up in prison too. For her safety, Lou told Sharon not to go back home and said she could stay at his place for a while. He also asked her, "Tell me everything you know about Mike. Every small detail matters." Meanwhile, Lou went into the evidence room and started putting together every piece of proof against Davis. At the same time, Davis told Maya that he had to leave town for work. To keep her safe, he avoided telling her too much, but Maya got frustrated with his secrecy and ended things before walking away. Losing her left Davis angry and upset. Then, the day of the robbery finally arrived. Davis headed toward the airport completely unaware that Armand also had all the information and that Lou now knew about the plan too. Using his usual tricks, Davis approached the driver, pulled a gun on him, and kidnapped him. The plan was simple. He would now pretend to be the driver and pick up the courier himself. Meanwhile, disguised as Mr. Foster, he met the bank courier. Now carrying the bag filled with watches and diamonds, Davis stepped in as the fake courier too. So now both the driver and courier inside the vehicle were fake. Soon they reached the hotel where Monroe was staying. The second they entered the room, Davis pulled out a gun and ordered everyone to get on the floor. Then he demanded the cash hidden inside the safe. As Monroe followed Davis's orders and began taking out the watches and diamonds from the briefcase and putting them into a bag, everyone suddenly realized he had secretly hidden a gun inside. He pulled it out, aimed it at Davis, and revealed, "I'm a cop. Surrender now." Davis answered calmly, "I've never hurt anyone before. I'm not trying to ruin my record today." The situation instantly became tense. Then, suddenly Armand burst into the room and pointed his gun at both of them. Unlike Davis, Armand fully believed in violence. Without thinking twice, he shot Monroe. During the chaos, Davis fired back and killed Armand. After everything settled, Lou looked at Davis and said, "I know you're the Highway 101 thief. You never even scratched anyone before, but today you killed a man to save my life." At that moment, Lou's view completely changed. He felt Davis wasn't a bad person, but someone who had become a thief because of life and circumstances. Lou then told him, "Take whatever you can and go." At the same time, he turned to Monroe and warned him, "You'll say exactly what I tell you, otherwise I'll open an investigation into your tax fraud and you'll spend your old age sitting in prison." After that, Lou called for backup and reported that one robber had attacked the place and that he had shot him. He also added that Mr. Monroe had been injured during the incident. Near the end, Davis kept his promise and sent nearly $3 million to Sharon. He also left behind his shiny car for Lou before disappearing. He even sent Maya a letter with a childhood photo inside. So maybe our hero finally got his happy ending too. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.